Hello to the next generation of professionals striving to make a career and accomplish your goals. We at Youth Move are working to provide life skills and resources to young adults and teens in Boone County. Today, me and my team will help you understand the process and the importance of being ready for an interview. Youth Move has young adults who have mastered the interview process and are ready to instill their knowledge and skills back to the youth of Columbia. We have gone through the interview process numerous of times and are ready to help you feel more prepared for the next interview. As a young adult, applying for jobs may feel super easy, but the actual process of getting an interview can be tough. Our hope is that through this presentation, you leave more confident in your interviewing skills, and let's dive right in.
In this training, Youth Move will be teaching you how to ace your next interview. We know that no one is born with interviewing skills. Even if you consider yourself an interview pro, the competition throughout the workforce is getting bigger and bigger. This training will give you amazing skills that you can keep in your back pocket for years to come. We have included what to do before the interview, what to expect on interview day, and how to properly follow up with your interviewer. When applying for any job, keep in mind that the hiring official is looking for the right person with the right skills to fill the vacant position. You can have tons of skills. Just make sure that you are including the skills that make sense for the job that you are applying for. For example, if you are applying to be a preschool teacher, you would want to include skills like caretaking, task management, patience, and emotional integrity. Also, only include skills that you actually carry. It'd be pretty awkward to say that you speak fluent Spanish and not be able to when prompted. If you are seeing jobs where your current skills don't fit well, but you would love similar jobs, take the opportunity to pursue training or certifications for new skills. Check out Coursera for virtual training and certification programs. If you are interested in positions where you don't have every skill listed, maybe you're at 50% of the skills and requirements listed, still apply. If anything, the interview can be another opportunity for you to refine your skills. After your interview is scheduled, get excited. Recruiters saw your application and thought you might be a great fit for the role. While preparing for the interview, here are a few things we suggest you do. Doing research before your interview will show interviewers that you are truly interested in the job and are serious about the position. Researching the job will also help you recognize if the job is a good fit for you. Things you can research are: what does the company value? What skills do I need for this position? What responsibilities are associated with this position? You can also use Indeed or LinkedIn to research who is interviewing you. Look for things like, is your interviewer a recruiter or a hiring manager? How long have they been with the company? Find any similarities to find connections with your interviewer.
Before your interview, there are a few things you should prepare to talk about. So let's talk about what to prepare and what to do on the interview day. You need to know what you're good at and be able to talk about it. This is your time to brag a little. Preferably, you should show skills that align with the position you are applying for, or any skills that help you stick out from other applicants. If you aren't sure what skills you bring to the table, try taking an assessment. While there are many assessments out there, we suggest taking Gallup's Strengths Finder. This assessment is an online test that measures the intensity of your strengths and how they might show up day to day through your work and interactions. Many of the skills listed are things that are not commonly discussed, so it's a great opportunity to get creative and stand out. This will help you better understand your strengths and give you ideas on what to do during your interview. Make sure you are fully prepared before the interview. Print out extra copies of your resume and cover letter if you have one. Verify the research you have done on the company and run through common interview questions and prompts, such as, tell me about yourself, how did you hear about this job, or why should we consider you for this position? You can find commonly asked interview questions and other helpful interview tips on Glassdoor by going to the company's page and clicking the interview tab. We suggest writing down possible answers to any interview questions you can think of. While you won't be able to bring these answers into the interview, continuing to read through them can help you feel more confident. And lastly, come to the interview with any questions you might have about the company or the role. Asking questions after an interview shows interest in the company, so we typically suggest asking 2 to 3 meaningful questions at the end of the interview. Bring a small notebook or pad of paper. That way you can take notes throughout the interview or have your questions written down and prepared to ask at the end. It can feel intimidating to introduce yourself in a new professional setting. One thing you can prepare ahead of time is something called an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is just a brief introduction about yourself professionally and personally. An elevator pitch should include the following. It shouldn't be more than a minute long. Try not to make it too personal. Take the opportunity to talk about where you're from or any hobbies you might have. An elevator pitch will consist of your name, current position and career history, why you're applying, and what you're looking for. An example of an elevator pitch is, Hello, my name is Jane Doe. I'm a junior at the Youth Move Academy. The majority of my career experience is in customer service. I'm applying for this position because I believe it will allow me to develop personally and professionally in a safe environment. I am looking for a space that will let me be my authentic self and grow as a young professional. Some of my hobbies include painting, weightlifting, and hanging out with my friends. Now that you've put in the prep work, it's finally the day of the interview. Breathe and remember, you got this. If you are feeling those interview day jitters, here are a few tips for the day of the interview and how to overcome any concerns you might have about the process.
Before going to the interview, make sure your attire fits the position you're trying to attain. So first, let's talk about the difference between casual and formal wear. Casual wear is more relaxed and shows how you would normally look on a random day outside of work. So that would be like t-shirt, sweatpants, running shoes, etc. Business casual is the next step up. For men, this generally means khaki pants and a button-down or short-sleeve shirt with a collar. For women, this means nice pants with a blouse or a modest dress or a skirt. Business formal is for more professional settings, suits and ties, blouse and slacks, or business dress and blazers. If the description states casual attire, this usually means that the interviewer might be dressed casually for the interview, so don't be surprised if you show up and they're wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Even if your interviewer or the company you're applying to dresses more casually, make sure you always showed up to dress to impress. We suggest always wearing business casual to business formal to interviews. While everyone has their own opinions when it comes to proper hair, makeup, and other forms of personal expression, we want to provide some helpful tips and reminders. Avoid hair in your face, use a hair tie or bobby pins. Make sure your clothing is neat and wrinkles are pressed away. If you don't have an iron, invest in one. Use wrinkle release spray or visit your local dry cleaners. Hygiene is key on interview day. Remember to shower, put on the deodorant, and brush your teeth. An interview involves a lot of talking, so don't knock the interviewer out their socks for the wrong reason. Avoid strong smells before the interview, such as perfume or smoke. You always want to be careful with fragrances, as some people have allergies to certain smells. Makeup and nail polish should be understated. Remember that everyday makeup and your professional makeup might look different. Leave distracting or chunky jewelry at home. If you have visible piercings, use your best judgment if they should be taken out for the interview. Don't be too loud with your clothing though. Avoid loud colors and flashy ties, animal prints, any lace clothing, sheer or low cut. You definitely don't want to go to an interview uncomfortable because you're overdressed or underdressed. If you have visible tattoos, make sure to research the tattoo policy for the company. Some roles require the tattoos must be hidden while on the clock. With that in mind, plan your attire around what's needed. At the end of the day, how you present yourself is one of your first opportunities to showcase who you are as a young professional. Find the balance between your individual style and your professional look.
Before you walk into that interview room, we want you to feel as prepared as possible. Sometimes it can feel like there are so many unspoken rules during an interview. Your first impression should spark the interviewer's interest within minutes of your initial interview. To help you feel more confident, let's go through a few common do's and don'ts. 1. Don't be late. It wastes the interviewer's time and it makes it seem like you don't care for the position. Some interviewers even cancel interviews that are more than 5 minutes late. If you have an emergency pop-up, be courteous and contact the interviewer as soon as possible to let them know. This will give them and yourself the opportunity to reschedule if needed. Instead, arrive on time. Arrive at the interview location 10 to 15 minutes before the scheduled interview time. This gives you time for any possible traffic, allows you to find parking, and gives you a moment to compose yourself before entering the building. Before entering the building, turn off your cell phone and take your seat. Interviewers will take note of applicants who arrive early. 2. Don't fist bump, hug, or high five an interviewer. This is a professional setting and your introduction should reflect this. Instead, provide a firm handshake. If you are someone who worries about their handshake, don't worry. All of us have dealt with nervous or sweaty hands. Practice your handshake with a friend or family member. 3. Don't be rude or withdrawn, whether you're talking to the interviewer, recruiter, or any staff member in the building. Instead, be friendly. Be friendly to anyone you're in contact with from the moment you walk in the door to the moment you leave. Smiling will create a warm and positive impression, and maintaining eye contact will demonstrate your self-confidence, focus, and respect for others. 4. Don't talk negatively about past employers. This could give off a bad impression of you as a former employee, or could make the interviewer worried that you are not a team player. Instead, talk positively about previous employers. It is okay to have disagreements, but don't talk down on anyone during an interview. If you list a negative, make sure to avoid blame. Instead, be mindful that whenever you list a negative or disagreement, that you also list how you worked through it. 5. Don't speak too fast, too loud, or too low. Be mindful that you don't talk over or interrupt the interviewer. Allow space for them to respond or ask follow-up questions. Instead, be consistent. Be mindful of your pace, clarity, tone, and volume. Show enthusiasm in your voice and maintain a proper volume for the size of the room and number of people you're meeting with. Keep an eye on any filler words you might use, such as or like. Mock interviews and practicing out loud can better help you prepare for your interview. So ask a friend or family member to help you practice. When asked a difficult question, there are several ways you can tackle it. Today we will talk about the S.T.A.R method. So what is the S.T.A.R method? The S.T.A.R method is an effective formula for structuring your behavioral interview response. Here's the breakdown. The S stands for situation. Explain the situation so that your interviewer understands the context of your example. The T stands for task. Talk about the tasks you took for completing the goal of your efforts. The A stands for action. Describing the actions that you personally took to complete the task or reach the end goal. You would want to highlight your skills. The R stands for result. Explaining the positive outcomes or results generated by your actions or efforts. Here's an example S.T.A.R response for the prompt, tell me about a time when you demonstrated leadership. Instead of simply responding with, I tutor kids in math, provide context for your interviewer and demonstrate your skills through an engaging example. The S for this prompt would be situation. When I was a junior in high school, there were several students in my math class who were struggling with some of the more difficult concepts. Task. With an upcoming national exam, I was asked by my math teacher to start an after-school session to assist the other students. Action. I stayed after school twice a week to review class materials and homework. I created a comprehensive study guide. I demonstrated the best methods for solving difficult problems, explained strategies that worked for me, and developed new problems to help them practice. Result. Our class average for the national exam was the highest it had been in over 10 years. And overall, the students I helped were able to develop a better understanding and appreciation for math. The S.T.A.R method is a helpful tool to help you answer difficult behavioral or situational questions. While refining your interviewing skills, continue to utilize this method when working through interview prep.
Congratulations, you have successfully made it through the interview. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. But the job is not done just yet. Here are a few helpful tips for what to do after the interview. Before you leave the interview, make sure to ask your interviewer for a way to contact them. This could be their LinkedIn account or an email address. Try to ask questions like, what do the next steps look like? Or, for my own planning, how long is the average turnaround time? Make sure to write down anything that you want to remember. This could be the names of who interviewed you and anything about them that is insightful. Write down any questions that you want to ask if you are to get a second interview. Now you can thank your interviewer for their time and consideration for the interview. For bonus points, you can have a handwritten thank you note on hand for your interviewer to leave at the front desk on your way out. If not, follow up with a brief email thanking the interviewer for their time and consideration. Then you can assess your interview performance. Write down any questions they asked and how you answered them. Then make edits. Write down things you wish you had said as well as the things you wish you hadn't said. This will help you better prepare for future interviews. Next, if required, send any important documents post-interview. These could be your references or consent forms for background checks. After that, do some networking through LinkedIn. If your interviewer accepts your request, this could be a sign that they are interested in learning more about you. Lastly, be comfortable being patient. Instead of anxiously waiting around for a response, fill your time by picking new skills or fine-tuning some of your prior ones. Remember to stay calm and only email or call to the hiring manager's preferences. Typically, we recommend waiting 1.5 to 2 weeks before following up for an update.
Now we have given you all the tools for a successful interview. It's time to put them all together. Nobody is naturally prepared for an interview, but interviewing is a skill you can continue to work on. Here are a few key notes to remember from our presentation today. By now, you should know looking at the job description is key to knowing what values or skills a company is looking for. Highlighting your best skills that fit the position, and remember to only use your skills you have, as well as listing the skills that make sense with the job. It is important to know yourself professionally for interviews. Take the time to prepare a few answers to common interview questions. Using the S.T.A.R method will help you have a more structured response when it comes to behavioral questions. Always be confident and memorable at your interview.
Thank you so much for taking time to learn more about interviewing. While we know interviews can be intimidating, we hope that this presentation has helped you feel more prepared, confident, and ready to tackle your next interview. If you want to continue working on these skills, on the next slide, we have listed some helpful resources you can check out. Be sure to reach out to the Flourish Initiative or Youth Move for more tips and tricks, and if you have any questions. Thank you again for your time. Now go rock that interview.